Hey folks, my name is Jim Aspel. I'm a board certified workers' compensation attorney in Farmington, Connecticut, and I wanted to talk to you today about 5 mistakes that you can make if you try to handle your workers' compensation case without the benefit of an experienced workers' compensation attorney. The first and most common mistake that you can make is ensuring that you receive inadequate compensation for your work related injury. The rate at which you get paid benefits in your Connecticut workers' compensation case is a relatively complicated formula that's set forth in the Connecticut General Statutes. If you don't know what you're doing and you try to go it alone, you may very well sell yourself short in terms of what you are entitled to by way of compensation. You may miscalculate your comp rate, you may neglect to include concurrent wages, you may not know how to go about the process of getting compensated for the concurrent wages and the mechanism to do that. More importantly, you may not understand how your permanent partial disability benefits are going to be calculated. Your permanent partial disability benefits are a key portion of the value of your workers' compensation claim, and if you don't do it correctly, then you're going to sell yourself short on a substantial value or a substantial part of the value of your Connecticut workers' compensation claim. The second mistake that you're most likely going to make if you don't have the services of a lawyer experienced in workers' compensation are procedural errors. Workers' compensation, while fairly straightforward, is a highly technical practice area. There's a lot of pitfalls that you can fall into. If you don't correctly file the Form 30C, you check the wrong box, you don't send it the proper way, you send it to the wrong location, you're going to be denied your claim for compensation. There are procedures in place for appealing decisions of commissioners, for advancing matters from an informal to a pre-formal to a formal hearing, and there are additional procedural matters that go into how the case proceeds through the Workers' Compensation Commission. If you have the services of a workers' compensation attorney, they're going to handle all of that for you. You don't need to worry about it. You just have to worry about getting yourself better. It's basically a set it and forget it type thing. You retain the services of a lawyer. They're going to handle all of the procedural aspects of the case for you. Number 3, insufficient medical evidence. More so than almost any other area of law, workers' compensation is very, very medically report driven. If you do not get the medical records, if you do not know how to get your medical records, if you do not know how to get a causation report, if you don't know what a causation report is, you're going to have problems with your Connecticut workers' compensation case. A lawyer knows how to do all of these things. I know that sounds self-serving, but we have a considerable portion of the staff dedicated to obtaining medical records, to getting those medical records to the adjusters and to defense counsel and to the Workers' Compensation Commission. We devote substantial expense and a substantial time in working up causation opinions on behalf of our work injury clients. So again, having the services of a lawyer assist you in getting the medical evidence that you need to put forward your best foot in your workers' compensation case is going to be quite important, and I would urge you to consider doing that. Number 4, legal defense tactics. I know it seems straightforward. You got hurt at work and you should be entitled to workers' compensation. The reality of the situation is your employer, or more specifically, your employer's insurance company, is going to be retaining an attorney. They're going to be retaining the services of a very experienced Connecticut workers' compensation defense firm. If you go in there unrepresented before the Workers' Compensation Commission, you're on your own. The workers' compensation judge, it's not a part of his or her job to advocate on your behalf. Their job is to see that the system moves fairly for all parties involved, but they are not going to make your case for you. They are not going to advocate on your behalf. So if you go in there, it's going to be a completely uneven playing field. You are going to have a very experienced defense attorney making arguments against your claim. They're going to be telling you what you need to do, and they're going to be doing whatever it is that's possible to delay your claim for benefits, or even worse, to deny those benefits completely. So if you're comfortable going up against an attorney, then by all means represent yourself, but I would strongly urge you to consider the benefit of having a lawyer on your side of the case as well. That way you do have somebody advocating on your behalf. Finally, the 5th reason why it is important to have a workers' compensation attorney helping you with your case is if the case requires an appeal. Say you take your case through, you have a formal hearing or a trial, and the workers' compensation administrative law judge rules against you, or partially rules against you, or somehow doesn't give you the result that you were expecting or that you think that you deserve, you do have the right to appeal that case to the Compensation Review Board, to the appellate court, and ultimately to the Connecticut Supreme Court if that's necessary. The appellate process in a Connecticut workers' compensation case is quite complex. There are a lot of time limits, there are a lot of filing limits, there are a lot of specificities in a particular order in which things need to be done. If you hire an experienced workers' compensation attorney, they're going to know how to do all of those things. They've been doing them for years, and they're going to do it correctly. It's going to make your life infinitely more easy in the long run, and it's greatly going to increase your likelihood of getting a successful claim for workers' compensation. So I know that all of that sounds rather self-serving, but I would strongly suggest to you that the cost of a workers' compensation attorney is well worth the investment on your part. We all do these on a contingency fee basis, so if we do not recover benefits on your behalf, you are not going to pay the attorney any fee. So it's kind of a no-lose proposition. There's an awful lot to gain and even more to lose. I hope you found that helpful. If you have any specific questions, feel free to reach out to us. We're in Farmington. You can visit our website. It's www.ctworkinjurylawyer.com. We do have additional videos on this YouTube channel. If you like this video or found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up, and I would invite you to subscribe to the channel. Thank you, and have a good afternoon.